Hello, this is David with the RV Bushcrafters channel. Let's take a look at some bushcrafting techniques that can be used to keep your RV cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter, and save you some money in the process. Let's start outside. The RV that we have has the tanks for the fresh water and the holding water in a special, what they call a no freeze zone. So there's a compartment that is above, below the floor and above about right here where these tanks sit, and the heating system from the back pushes the air. I'll show you the back of the system. Pushes the air straight through from the back all the way to the front of the camper in this no freeze zone, and it actually heats that compartment and keeps those tanks from freezing. However, RVs are not really four-season vehicles or even campers and trailers. They're really three-season, but there's things you can do to extend that. And one of those that I have done here is there was a big gap. There's insulation in this area, but this door was mostly hollow. You can see the original insulation back here. I added a 1/2 inch of the Pink Panther insulation foam to this. I measured it, cut it to size, and made it fit into this area. Now, if this area is already insulated for you and you don't have a gap to put that in like I did, you could simply cut the insulation to size and glue it, or double-side tape it to this and get the same insulation effect. So what we've got on all of our bay doors is an additional R3 of insulation that reduces heat loss in the winter and heat gain in the summer. Now, let's walk around to the other side here real quick and look at the more visible aspect of insulation. So we have a wet bay, and this wet bay is nothing more than a thin piece of plastic right here. So by not only insulating the door, as you see here, but also putting insulation around the edges wherever practical in this bay, really reduces the heat loss, because all any transfer heat through here is also going to go into that no freeze area that I was talking about. So it's important to insulate that, and that will really extend your ability to camp in much colder situations. We've actually been in single-digit temperatures last year, and while it did burn a lot of propane during that period, we were able to keep things from freezing and stay reasonably warm. There's also things you can do to the inside. Now here, if you look, this is the cab. We're looking, I'm trying to back away where you can see the cab is behind this gray curtain that you see. And what we did is we added industrial Velcro to this and sewed that Velcro to this felt, which has been made as a curtain, and there will be somewhere between a 6 and 8 degree difference between the temperature in the wintertime between here and then the front end of the cab. So that is very good insulation. It also keeps cold air from coming in at the bottom, because the curtain, we have it sitting on the floor itself. Now, another huge thing that can be done is, in the summertime purposes and wintertime at night, is whether you have a shade like we have or not that's going up automatically. I cut this reflective insulation and made a window shade for it. Huge amount. As soon as you set that in and block the sun, you can feel the difference immediately. So in the wintertime, you would want to, if the sun was shining in the window, to stay warm during the day, you'd want to take this down. Obviously in the summertime, you leave it up. So any level of trapped air that you can get is an excellent way to make your RV more comfortable and save money on heating and cooling, because in a lot of places you have to pay for electricity. Not to be overlooked would be rugs on the floor. They prevent both heat gain and heat loss, and it really makes a difference stepping on those rugs with your bare feet in the wintertime versus stepping on the bare cold floor. So for insulation, do everything you can. If your tanks, we were talking about tanks a while ago, if your tanks are exterior, they're not in a no-freeze zone, then you can actually add insulation to those tanks, and usually it works best. The same kind of stuff that I use on the windshield, maybe a bit thicker. I have insulated RV tanks for that, and it just a little bit can make a huge difference. Lastly, but certainly not least, is insulating your entry door steps. You lose a lot of heat from that in the wintertime, and you gain a lot of heat from it in the summertime. So that would be the area where your steps are located. I created using the pink insulation here, and I used some painter's sticks and basically glued them to the bottom of it to give it some rigidity. Obviously you can't stand on it, and you have to, you know, teach kids, if you have them, to stay away from it or block it in some way, or pets. But also on this side I put additional insulation in, the same type of stuff that is in the window that keeps the sun from coming in. Basically what you do is you just lay that across. I cut it the size to fit, and it does a seal on the steps. And fortunately, it's rigid enough that our 10-pound poodle can walk on it, although she doesn't normally do so. But it doesn't collapse because there's enough rigidity to it for me putting those steps in there. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day.